Hello. Sorry I'm a little late, guys. Welcome. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm a little flustered. Hey, Nathan. How's it going, everybody? Sorry, y'all can hear me. That's great. Okay. Y'all, I'm so unprepared in terms of like being here, and I'll explain why in a second. But welcome all. I've got my notes ready. I got so much to say, guys. I wrote this, like, all my notes, like, as soon as I woke up this morning. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. I am so flustered. Hey everyone, who's all here? Alright. Hey Angel. Sick with the cold 80-degree weather. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Angel. No, Jacarius, you are on time. I am late. I mean, I was here on time-ish, but then I had to run upstairs. So glad you made it, Jacarius. Can we talk about Christina before we talk about the show? Yes, absolutely. Christina is actually the very first things in my notes. So yeah, I do want to get that out of the way before we get into the show. All right. Okay, I think sorry, my phone's like nearly dead, so I had to like somewhat try to charge it. There we go. Okay. Okay. Hey, Brooklyn. What's up with my girl Christina being recast? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Welcome to General Hospital Envy, my GH after show. Glad to see you all here. Lots to talk about today. Before we get into the GH stuff, the reason why I'm so flustered, I'm running a little bit late. My work had an award ceremony, and it was from 6 to 9, and it's 9:30, so I had to like come back. And thank you, Jacarius. At this point, Willa can die. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so my work had an award ceremony. I was debating all day, going like back and forth, like if I should go or not. And like last second, I decided to go. I had been nominated for 2 awards that night, or tonight, which was an honor. And it's a good thing I went because I won an award. Oh my god, you guys. So yeah, so I'm a bit flustered. It's been one heck of a day, one heck of an evening. I had to be all dolled up in the, in a tuxedo and everything, so I had to get out of that, quickly make myself look somewhat presentable, and then, come down here. But yeah, so it's been a good night. I am dressed down now because I do, you guys know me. I don't like wearing like fancy clothes and stuff. So, thank you, Brooklyn. But yeah, and thankfully my boss drove me home, and I rushed back, got here. It was like a big fancy gala. Like the people from our like local news crew were the ones hosting it. It was crazy. I don't usually go to these things. I do get nominated almost every year, I think, but I just never go. And a lot of people were nagging me to go, and now I'm starting to see why. But it was last second that I decided to go. Like maybe like 2 hours before, I was like, okay, I'll go. So yeah, top customer service, y'all. Go me. Thank you guys. Thank you. Hey, Kaiwan. All right. Now that we got the me stuff out of the way, and thank you guys, I appreciate it. Bit shocked, but it was cool. Let's get into it. Not the show, not the plots. We're gonna get into the recast because I know y'all have been shocked about it, and I know I'm certainly shocked about it and mad about it. You got a great TV person, TV type person? No, listen. It, local news crew. It was like my place of work. They do like something called the Over the Top Awards every year, and people nominate people in different departments and categories and stuff. I was one of them, and turns out I'm the best one this year, I guess. I cringed thinking about it, but I'm thankful. It's good to be acknowledged by the head honchos and stuff of my workplace, so cool. Customer service isn't easy, y'all. It's literally theater sometimes. No matter how you feel when you go to work, you just gotta put on a face and treat customers well. Is the new actress more clear than the other actress? What do you mean clear? All right, let's talk about this. So, you guys, I'm assuming you want to know how I feel about the announcement that Lexi Ainsworth is out as Christina. Y'all know I'm a big fan of Lexi. I'm a big fan, and so I'm, as a Lexi fan, obviously I'm very disappointed. Even more so when I learned that Christina's upcoming story was inspired by an event going on in her personal life. But she chose to leave because she wanted to explore other options and is working on her own project that it's inspired by something she's going through as well. And for that, I'm happy for her, and I hope that it pans out for her in the best way. What I'm really mad about is how many years this show has wasted sleeping on having such a talented actress playing this character. This character had so much potential for story, for so many different types of stories. So, they've done nothing with her at all for the last 10 years, and it's annoying. Personally, I would have rather them just send Christina off to find herself in Europe or something rather than a recast. Because if this upcoming story for Christina ends up being good, I'm gonna be bitter about it. You know what I mean? And obviously it's a big enough story that the writers or the showrunners thought a recast would be good. Mind you, we've seen a recast Valerie and they did nothing with her, so who knows? And a recast Lucas, they did nothing with him. Hard to say, so we'll wait and see. But Kate Mansi, who's been on Days of Our Lives, will be replacing Lexi as Christina. And you guys know that I'm always willing to give recasts a fair chance and to try and be as objective as possible. It's just gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. And so I don't know any of Kate Mansi's work. So obviously she was on Days. For the Days viewers, let me know if she's a good actress. Do you think she'd be fit for the role of Christina? I'm intrigued. Of course I'm gonna give her a fair chance in terms of her acting skills. Sometimes recasts would surprise me. The last time Christina got recasted, I did not enjoy her. I don't remember her name, but I felt that she was awful. And I was so glad when Lexi came back. So, I don't know. We'll see how Kate Mansi does. What are you guys saying? Let me scroll up. DG said, I don't get the recast because they never used Lexi much anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if, I feel like if they're recasting her, it might merit that they're going to give her some kind of story. But I don't know. We've had recast before, and the recast just vanished after a couple of days, like Valerie and Lucas. So, who knows? I guess the story is coming up for her, which they think she's not appropriate. No, well, I mean, apparently she quit. It was mutually beneficial decision, I guess. DG, you said, I did customer service for 20 years. I refuse to do it anymore. My last job in that field was at a bank call center in 2011. Never again. Mine's at a shopping mall. Pretty big one, but, there's a lot there's a lot more good about it than there is bad. I will say. I meet a lot of really cool, interesting people and get like a lot of cool opportunities with it. So, you know, it ain't all bad. And I work with really great people. So, it's really the people that like kind of keep me there. You know. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be doing it. Brooklyn, you said exactly. It's not fair now that my girl Christina's gone. They are giving the recast a major storyline. Yeah, I'm upset about that. Sandy, you said you were looking forward to a storyline with Christina this summer. Lexi will be missed. Me too. She quit. They never really used her anyway. The last big story I remember was the abuse with Kiefer. That's it. Yeah, there was that one. And they did a storyline about her sexuality as well. They had her have an affair with a teacher. That was pretty messy. Hal, you said hope this recast will be better than the last one. Do you mean like the last recast for Christina? DG, you said I'm not a fan of Kate Manzi, the recast, but she does have a big fan base on Days. So it's a smart move. So like stunt casting. See, I don't like that because like yeah, her fans are going to come and see what she can do, but like it comes down to how she plays her ultimately, right? And Lexi is not an easy person to follow. Like I said, I don't know Kate's work, but Lexi, any bit of material that they gave her, she rocked. And it's funny because like the one thing I think about in the last 10 years is her reunion with Sonny after he was found out to have just been gone with his memory loss. And she was the only one that had a realistic reaction to her father being alive. So, you know, I feel like in a lot of ways she can sometimes overshine than the rest of the cast, especially within the Corinthos family. She's kind of like a Lulu on Days. Which version of Lulu, Kaiwan? Because Julie Lulu, that would be great, but Emmy Lulu, I don't know. You weren't a fan of Lexi either, so it's neither here or there. That's fair. Nathan, you said you've seen KM on Duel and on Days of Our Lives, and she did a very good job as Abby. Demera. The problem is with Duel's taping schedule, she got burned out, so she left. Okay. I don't think Kate Manzi would agree to join unless she was promised a story. That's fair. If she is as, you know, big time as you guys say, then that's understandable. Yeah, I don't think that they would stunt cast her that way if they didn't have something big planned for her. The last Christina recast was bigger than Sam, like taller, but definitely favored Sunny's side of the family. I hated the Mom Princess storyline. So did I. I don't know, whenever I think of that last actress, I just think of, like, when she trashed Kate Howard's office with a baseball bat. It looked so ridiculous, y'all. So ridiculous. Alright, hopefully Lexi comes back again. I hope so, too. My only concern is them using Kate as Lexi, since the show has a ton of characters. Kate may not get a lot of screen time. Definitely a possibility. Nobody can cry like Lexi. For real! Stunt casting is usually good for ratings, but if there is a story that comes with it. Julie Lulu. Okay, well, that gives me hope, Kaiwan. I heard from a close source that Lexi was plainly fired. I'm just going by what Lexi said in her Instagram. Oh, Frank's decision. Well, where did you hear that from? Because I'm just going by what Lexi said on her Instagram, and I didn't follow beyond that. She's not huge in the industry overall, but she was very popular on Days. Okay. Alright, well. But yeah, so it's kind of a mixed bag for you guys. Some of you are okay with the recast. Some of you would rather Lexi be in the role, of course. And some of you don't care either way. I like having a mixed bag of opinions. I will miss Lexi. I actually really adored her as an actress. I've always spoken up about her lack of screen time on the show. So you guys probably already knew how I felt anyway. If you've watched the show, you've seen me praise her countless times. I bet that's why she's saying she wants to move on to be diplomatic and hide the truth. Well, sometimes that happens. We can only speculate, right? Well, I'll try my best to give the new Christina... Yeah, I'm always going to give the recast a chance, because it's never fair, like, to not be open-minded about that sort of thing, because, like it or not, we're stuck with that version, you know? And there are recasts that I think have done a great enough job to follow their predecessors, and, you know, I don't mind them playing them, or I end up really liking them. There are some that, obviously, I did not like, you know? And I hope that I do like the new Christina, because Lexi is not an easy act to follow. Frank always concentrates on actors and characters I don't care about, but the ones I love he neglects, usually, especially the older vets. True, but they've been around for this story, man. The 60th anniversary Ice Princess storyline. We're gonna save that for a little bit later, though. We're gonna get the smaller, easier stuff to talk about out of the way first, and then we're gonna get into the big Ice Princess storyline. Lexi has 2 movie projects coming out soon. She'll be very busy. Yeah, and I think she said that she was going to be on NCIS the next little bit. All right. But enough about Christina. We are going to get into the plots of General Hospital. We're going to talk about Pikeman first, the Pikeman meeting. As you guys know, Michael and Dex have been working together to find a way to bring Sonny down, hoping to catch him in his illegal dealing so they can put him in jail forever. Bear in mind, Michael's motives aren't because what Sonny is doing is illegal, but because he wanted revenge on Sonny for cheating on his mommy, who has already moved on to another relationship, by the way, and also for hurting his and his family's feelings, because he's a little bitch, just like Jason called him. But yeah, Dex's motives are a little bit up in the air still, beyond he's just a bad guy to bring down, and I'm assuming he needed the money. But yeah, anyway, Dex had set up a camera in the warehouse where the meeting took place, and once the meeting was over, Dex sent the footage to Michael. And now Dex and Joss are essentially playing the waiting game. Dex is clearly torn because he's grown to have found respectable traits in Sonny, but it's out of his hands now because the footage has already been sent. So his role in Michael's plan is over and done with. So Joss and Dex are now free to have sex whenever they want to, just like before and during the plan. But at least until Sonny finds out, and then we'll see what happens. Jeannie Francis is a perfect example. She has been fired several times by Jill Phelps, but she never opens up about it with the truth. She just moves forward and only says positive things on record. That's true. Jeannie is a class act in that way, though. Because I would be speaking up. Kaiwani says that proves that my dad, that I wouldn't do another podcast. Sonny, it's always been evil. He's never been out 100% a good character. Here, it's evil. And DG, you said, I like Dex with the videotaping, but we all know Michael will erase the evidence and Sonny will get off. Disappointing. I at least hope that Ms. Wu is behind the recent hit on Sonny. Sandy, you said Joss is just a booty call. Oh man, feels like it. All right, but anyway, now as for Michael, he's still reeling over Carly getting arrested by the SEC for insider trading, and he blames Ned for it because, as far as Michael knows, Ned is the only one who knew about it, who had threatened them with the notion before. Naturally, it's completely fine that Carly did something illegal because she didn't cheat on Sonny, and she only hurt his feelings for a little bit for keeping Nina, being Willow's mother, a secret. Now, even though Carly was let go by the SEC, thanks to Sonny setting up a false lead for Drew, who the SEC want more, Michael still can't find it in himself to forgive Sonny, or to give him some leeway at least, and decides to gloat to stage 4 cancer-ridden Willow about his plan to take down the man that she has been begging him for weeks to find it in his heart to make peace with from showing her the footage to explaining what's going on, how he got the footage, who he's working with, and Willow ends up collapsing from the shock and has to get rushed to the hospital. It's funny because Michael in that moment had a "this is my fault" epiphany as she was getting wheeled into the ambulance, but never really spoke about it after. After Willow woke up. Probably in fear that he'd upset her again, I'm sure. But Michael does need to own it and work on himself a little bit. And listen, I just want to remind people, I'm not really a big Sonny fan, okay? You guys should know this by now. I'm just in the boat of Michael, this man killed your father, and you cared less about that for a much shorter time frame than you care about Sonny dating a woman you dislike. Like, let this petty vendetta go, because it's just, this storyline has been stupid for that reason alone, which is why I've just been like rolling my eyes at this whole thing the entire time. DG, you said Joss is a bit loose, but I think Dex actually has real feelings for her, but she gives it up way too easily. I hope young girls watching her don't follow her example, but I love Eden McCoy. Yeah, like, it's, listen, yeah, like, I don't necessarily agree that she's a booty call, but they all just having sex, and they don't really seem to know each other that well, and they don't seem to care to get to know each other that well. DG said, can Willow just die or get well? I'm tired of it. Me too, DG. Nathan, you said, what a perfect guy Michael is. Why would he even do that to Willow, right? Like, it seemed so stupid that he would just, like, go on a tangent about Sonny after she made him invite him to the wedding, right? And she's been talking about, like, can you make peace? Like, can you just, let it go? The family, you're like, making things awkward for everybody. And he refuses. And then he went, and then he showed her all this stuff. I don't understand. I don't understand why in the world he thought that this would be a good time. Especially because Willow was kind of like, well, at least Sonny helped you with the SEC. Does that make things easier? And he's like, no, because I'm about to take him down and put him in jail forever. Ridiculous. All right, Brooklyn, you said, so looking forward for when Christina finds out that Michael, Dex, and Jocelyn knew about taking Sonny down. See, I would have loved to see Lexi confront them. Oh my god, that would have been so good. And DG, you said, I know this thing with Michael is just too little too late, so ridiculous by the writers. I agree. Come on, you said Jeff Johnson does... Oh... Booty call. Sorry, come on, I can't understand what you're saying there. They talk afterward. Angel, you said if Michael telling Willow about his revenge plot was going to make her get on her deathbed, he should have said something a long time ago. Angel! Oh, man. I think Michael doesn't care. Basically, the only really cares about his mother. Didn't really care about AJ at all. Yeah, Michael's a mama's boy through and through. You don't even know anything more about Dex. Yeah, it's true. Willow was a hypocrite, though. She tells Mike, yeah, it's true. Her thing with Nina. But she has a lot more to be mad at Nina about. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot there for the short amount of time that they've known each other. But, like, to Willow's credit, she did let her in on her health. A little bit. So there was some leeway there. She's getting to know Nina's side of the family. So there's a lot more effort from Willow than there was from Michael. But I do think it was wrong that she didn't invite her to the wedding. You know what I mean? Especially being like, you can invite Sonny but not Nina. Willow knows that they're together. But it is what it is. I was just shouting die while she was fainting. Can't stand the storyline. It's too much. Like, she should have been dead a long time ago when the stage 4 cancer thing. Man. I don't really like Michael trying to make them, but they... Michael telling Willow about his revenge doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I agree. Technically, Christina should be mad at them to be mad at Nina. Because she dated the father and the father knew about it. She said I was technically raised by you. What? Don't blame Willow for hating Nina, but she still can't tell Mike to make up with Sunny and still not forgive Nina. Good point, good point. What do you mean Christina was raised by Nina? I'm confused with what you mean there. Each character in their own right or wrong hypocrite. Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrites on this show. Alright. Let's see. Where was I in my notes here? Okay, so anyway, while all this is happening with Michael and Willow, Carly had a run-in with Nina at Kelly's. First of all, I don't even know why she was at Kelly's because Carly was already told that all of her assets have been frozen. Diane told her. Like, did she forget? She's out there trying to pay for a pie with her cards. It was only like a couple of hours that passed. That made no sense to me at all. They just put her in there to have a run-in with Nina, like a plot point that made no sense. But yeah, she ran into Nina. Nina asked Carly how the wedding went, which I feel like if I were in Carly's position, I'd understand and just be like, it was beautiful. She was really happy and left at that and, you know, went my merry way. Like, for me, even if I as Carly assumed Sunny told Nina what happened with the SEC, I wouldn't even bring up the SEC thing because it would be none of her business anyway. However, she not only does that, she also takes the opportunity to take digs at Nina about Nell being the one to bring Michael and Willow together in the first place, and how Nell didn't know that she was using her dead nephew as a prop. And see, this is why I'm not Team Carly or Team Nina, because they're both pieces of shit. You know what I mean? They are two sides of the same damn coin. One's just slightly more mentally unstable than the other. I'll give Nina that. She's definitely more mentally unstable than Carly. But they're both awful. They're both awful. Carly even had the audacity upon leaving Kelly's when she gets a phone call from Michael telling her that Willow's at GH and her health is taking a turn for the worst, to not even let Nina know, knowing damn well Willow made a decision to loop Nina into anything regarding her health. Both of these women are absolute trash. Okay? There's not one rootable person in this entire story. Not even Michael, not even Willow. They're all awful. They're all awful. Didn't make Carly look any good usually. I'm sure the thought she had a couple of bucks left on that card for a slice of pie. No, but they froze her assets, meaning she can't access them. Right? If I was Carly, I would have at least told Nina her daughter just fainted. Exactly! Carly can't judge anybody considering her history. Exactly. They're both awful human beings. It's true. It's true. Carly thought, no way, I have cash. Both ladies are wrong. No, but like Carly, you know, of course Nina offered to pay, but Carly had cash on her, but like, Carly still tried to use her cards first. So like, that's why I was like, did she forget? Oh man. They're both postmodern Brick, Kylie, and Nina. Who's Kylie? Alright. But yeah, by the way, Ava showed up to Kelly's as well, and Nina told her about what happened to Carly at the wedding, and Ava was like, cool, let's celebrate with champagne, let's go somewhere. I'm getting whiplash when it comes to Ava, because, you know, at one point, she was like egging Nina on to call the SEC, and then the next point, she was saying that she was just using reverse psychology and didn't really want her to call the SEC on Carly, and now she's like, let's celebrate because you got Carly in trouble with the SEC. I don't know. I'm getting whiplash with Ava. I'm getting whiplashed. I don't understand. Some of the writing was bonkers this week, you guys. Ava is not Nina's friend. Exactly. Carly slept with Tony, her mom's husband, slept with both Jason and AJ, lied about Michael's paternity, and she slept with Sonny behind Jason's back. Yeah, Carly's done a lot. Like, there's no negating that. Carly's got, you know, a lot to get called out for. One thing I will give Carly is that she has not done as much over the last 10 years in terms of, like, vile stuff, but she still does from time to time. So she ain't completely a martyr now. You know what I mean? You said Ava is playing the long game with revenge with Nina. You think so, Angel? They should have made Carly wash dishes to pay for that pie. Oh my goodness. Brooklyn said, what's up with Ava using Nina to do what she's always wanted to do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she wants to see Carly squirm a little bit. I know why she does, but it's just like, it's weird to see Ava not owning it and just going back and forth on what she's saying. The one thing I will give Ava is that she is right, you know, like, if Sonny finds out, then he ain't gonna let that go. And so with that in mind, Sonny meets up with Nina and fills her in on what he did to the SEC, to lead the SEC away from Drew, and how if he finds out who hurt his family like this, they're gonna pay. And Nina was like, let's go on vacation. Basically trying to isolate Sonny yet again from finding out the truth about something that would absolutely matter to him. But thankfully, Dex informed them of Willow being at GH, and they ran to the hospital. Willow and Michael had learned that the only way she has a chance at beating this is to stay in the hospital until Drew hopefully comes back with Liesel. When Willow learns that Nina is at the hospital, she calls her into the room and asks whether she makes it or not to try and make peace with Carly. And boy, Nina couldn't even hide how much she didn't want to make peace with Carly at all. All she could muster up was a mediocre, I'll try, after a long pause. And like, I'm not perfect. I'm sure being the reason Carly's facing the FCC factored in on her delayed response a little bit. But we know she thrives off of making Carly miserable too. So there's that. Side note, one short scene I want to bring up within the storyline that didn't really move the story along, but was cute nonetheless, was that Brooklyn and Tracy had to stay behind at the gatehouse to watch Wiley. And Tracy interacting with the child is a hoot, first of all. Like, you can see she's really trying to, like, bond with Wiley, but she's such an awkward human being. Like, you can tell she doesn't like kids. But she was really trying, you know? And she can come across as terrifying. But Brooklyn kind of reined Tracy in a little bit. And it results in a kind of adorable moment between Tracy and Wiley. Of Tracy telling him a story of the 4 little pigs, not the 3 little pigs. It was cute. Alright. They should have made Carly wash dishes. Oh yeah, I seen that. He was playing the long game. Brooklyn, you said, oh. Sorry, I read those already. Oh no. Sorry guys, give me one split second here. Oh, I just wish Nina would own up to the SEC called. Like, girl, own your mess. Mm-hmm. But if she did, Sonny would dump her in, like, no time, you guys. You know this is true. Sorry, give me 1 second. Me and my work crew are kind of all, like, passing photos from the event to each other. from the ceremony. There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk about Greenland and all things relating to the Ice Princess storyline, essentially. And I don't know about you guys. I've been enjoying this storyline so much. Like, I've had a blast watching this thing, you guys. And I'm gonna be sad because it seems like the storyline's pretty much over now. And I just want more of it, you know? What were you guys saying? Oh, DG said that scene was funny, but I'd love to see Tracy spank Wiley. That kid could be a brat. He's cute, but I don't like him. That drunken wedding night Tracy was talking about. Oh, that was funny, yeah. Tracy was talking about the night that she married Ned's father. Oh my gosh. Maybe we should find that for like a Wednesday. Because I'm sure it's on... I hope it's on YouTube somewhere, because I'd be down to watch that. I don't think I've watched it before. You guys. So if it's there, we'll watch it at some point. Alright, but yeah. Like I said, this Ice Princess storyline has been my favorite storyline of the week. It takes place, for the most part, somewhere in Greenland, as the show likes to tell us every single episode with its royalty-free shots of the real Greenland drone footage. What happened to Ned's father? I don't know. We seen him somewhat recently, did we not? Like, they brought Larry Ashton on for a while, right? Like, post-2013? Yeah, I can't remember the whole thing. Poor Man Ice Princess 2. It's not much compared to the original. They don't have the budget today, and also I don't think a second weather machine is necessary. I have something to say about that, but we'll ease into it, because to your point, I do have something to say about that. All right. So anyway, before we talk about what happens in Greenland, we got to talk about what takes place in Port Charles. Scott Baldwin had overheard that Victor had a bioweapon and was planning to use it against the world. And when he makes his presence known to Robert, Holly, and Anna, he shares that he plans on telling the WSB everything. But before he can do that, Holly chloroforms him. It's kind of funny because I feel like if she just waited a few more seconds for Robert to explain what the WSB would do if they got wind of this information, I think he genuinely would have kept his mouth shut. But this was the cards we were dealt with. Holly and Anna decided they were going to go to Greenland to warn their friends, who at this point are still oblivious to what they're walking into, and they insist Robert stay behind, which I'm kind of mad about, honestly. Robert, in my opinion, should have been in Greenland with the others because, you know, he was involved with the original story in a big way. So to kind of have him take a backseat was kind of a piss off to me. But yeah, he was on Scott watching duty until he came to. At one point, Elizabeth wanted to check on Anna's vitals, not knowing she snuck out of the hospital to fly to Greenland, which, by the way, I can't imagine why Holly or Robert would allow that, considering how Anna was just shot and in critical condition, barely out of surgery, but whatever. Anna went anyway. Then, in a poorly timed coincidence, a WSB agent came to check in on Anna, and when the WSB went in and found Scott, who was now conscious, he opened his big mouth and told the agent about the bioweapon, and the agent detained Robert. What are you guys saying? I thought of you, Dion, when they showed Greenland, ever since you showed us the castle. Yep, reuse, reduce, and recycle. Oh man, we seen him in that. Nobody bring them up as family. They don't even recognize them. They're not really Quartermains. DG, you said I would have at least liked to see a video of a drone shooting the boat to pieces. You can get royalty-free stuff like that. You can get royalty-free of almost anything these days, guys. Seriously. Holly popping up everywhere was fun, especially knocking Scotty out. I've loved Holly in like both her part 1 of this storyline and this current storyline. Especially her confrontation with Victor. But more on that later, because I loved that. Robert Scorpio should have been part of the... Yeah, I agree. He should have been a part of that. He sucks as the DA. True. Robert should have been there, you're right. Yeah, like he was in the original storyline. Like Laura's there. Robert should be there too. And a kicking butt after being shot was ridiculous. Alright. So, let me see. Okay, so Felicia was nearby when Robert was pleading for help. and he told her, call Frisco and warn him. And y'all, for a split second, I was so excited. I was like, are we going to get to see Frisco? Because that would be amazing. And as quickly as I had hoped, it was snatched away from me, because when Felicia returned and informed Robert that they replaced him as head of the WSB immediately, and that the new lead was going to refuse to take any of his calls, like, at least we got knowledge that Felicia did talk to Frisco, but man, I wish he was available. I miss Jack Wagner. But yeah, thankfully Felicia had called Diane and Jordan to get Robert out of the WSB agent's clutches. So, you know, she wasn't completely useless. And kudos to Diane for not letting their personal stuff get in the way of helping him out. I think he's too old looking to really truly be a part of the storyline. He could have still been there, you know? Let's be real. Like, all of the actors are, you know, a little bit older than they were in the 80s, let's face it. But, you know, like, for instance, you know, Monica is still working at the hospital, Bobby's still working at the hospital, and these women are in their 70s and 80s, right? Nathan, you said, honestly, Frisco as a WSB, I could never see it. Jack Wagner is not coming back to GH, sadly, after his character was butchered in the past. That's fair. Is that why he stays away, though? Because there's new writers, like, since then, you know what I mean? Alright, but anyway, now that we've talked about all the things that happened in Port Charles, for the most part, let's go back to Greenland. Laura, Curtis, Drew, and Valentine had to get a bit creative, especially after the stat phone Valentine dropped was ringing. Valentine had to basically give himself up and hope that the rest of the gang would be able to continue the rescue mission. For the most part, it didn't go well. First of all, when Valentine came face-to-face with Victor, Victor decided that he would use Valentine as a test subject for the pathogen's vaccine, and forced Obrecht to inject the pathogen right into him, despite her trying to appeal to any humanity Victor could potentially have scraping around in his brain. Turns out there's none left. And when Valentine started to feel the terrifying effects of the pathogen, he refused to let Obrecht give him the antidote that she created, because he figured he didn't come alone to the island, and decided that he wouldn't give him the antidote unless Valentine told him who he came here with, and Valentine would not tell him. And when he wouldn't, Victor decided to let him rot. It was during this time that Valentine started to hallucinate visions of hell in the form of his hellish mother, Helena Cassadine. Let's go. I love seeing Constance Towers, who, by the way, is turning 90 this month. The fact that she came back at all, damn, you guys. We're lucky to have Constance. Jackie's only in her mid-60s. I thought she was almost 70. I was hoping we'd hear Frisco on the phone, too. That would have been fine, too. Frisco ain't nothing but a deadbeat. Oh, man. Sorry, I realized I was missing some of the stuff you guys were saying earlier. Do you mean, come on, like, do you think Valentine will give his shares to the Quartermains? I don't know. The declaration of love Valentine gave Anna was beautiful. It was alright, but I'm just not a fan of them as a couple. I thought they were really well written scenes, though, and I think that James and Finola did great with the work. Jackie is even at 69 as of last March. Okay. It was fun seeing Constance. She looks good for her age. She does. She still looks like the Helena Cassadine we've always known and loved. She turns 90 May 20th. Yeah. Yeah, she's like almost 90 right now. It's crazy. Yeah, Helena still looks good, Zandy. You're right. But yeah, anyway. Meanwhile, Laura, Drew, and Curtis come up with a plan to attack a couple of guards, to steal their guard clothing and uniforms, so that they could roam the island sort of unnoticed. Curtis went off to the Haunted Star while Laura pretended to be Drew's captive to try and see if anyone was in the bunker. That plan didn't go so well for Laura and Drew. Their cover was blown pretty much the second they walked into the bunker. But they knocked the guard out that realized who they were and explored the lab, finding the box with the pathogen, still oblivious as to what it actually was, because it was written in German. Liesel was not there to translate. But yeah, Curtis, on the other hand, he actually fared a lot better. He got into the Haunted Star. He saw Spencer instantly, who was being beaten up by the guards. Spencer played it cool enough, realizing that Curtis was there to rescue him, Trina, and Ace, and helped keep Curtis's cover intact, even managing to tell him where Trina was without giving Curtis away. Which, props to Spencer. That was really smart. Curtis gets into Trina's room and rescues her, and they have like a sweet, loving moment. And, you know, he insists that she runs to the plane, but she refuses to leave Spencer and Ace behind. So Curtis is like, fine, but from here on out, you do exactly what I say. Trina goes out to the main room to try and get the guards away from Spencer, which she manages to by running away, followed by Curtis kicking both guards' asses. I actually really enjoy Curtis in these action scenes, like, more than the judgy, hypocritical club owner, like, persona that they give him all the time. Like, he's better at this action stuff. I remember, like, back when Curtis and Drew, like Billy Miller's Drew, were like hanging out and doing like solving mysteries and stuff. I was like, this would be really fun to see like Curtis in PI mode. I kind of wish that he still was. He's a better PI than he is like a club owner, especially because he's under a mob mall's sort of, you know, grasp. DG said, "Oh my god, I love you, Dion." I'm not a Vanna fan either. Oh yeah, I can't stand them. They work together. They work well together. Yeah, they're great scene partners. I just don't like them as a couple. Yeah, I don't feel them romantically. And you were a huge Duke and Anna fan. I was a huge Duke and Anna fan as well. Sandy said it's fun seeing the OGs together again. Yeah, I agree. Nathan, you said I've warmed up to Vanna, which has been in the making ever since Valentine came to PC. Finola and James have great chemistry. Curtis is this generation's Shaft. Donnell Turner has been excellent. Yeah, he's actually thriving in the storyline. And it's crazy because he's like, you know, he's essentially the newcomer. Same with Drew, but like, you know, Curtis being very heavily involved and sharing most of his scenes with Jeannie Francis. Like, he's kicking ass. I'm really enjoying this story for Curtis, and I'd rather see him in this action-y stuff than like what he's been doing. DJ, you said that Curtis is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. Oh man, he is. He was kicking ass and taking names. He took down 2 guards on his own, you guys. And he rescued. He was the only one that was successful in doing what he was meant to do over there. You know what I mean? But yeah, one thing that I will say is that despite Curtis telling Trina to do what he says, when she tells him to leave and that he'll get Spencer later, she's like, "I'm not leaving him." But you know, it makes sense of the writing. Trina and Spencer is like, we cannot be away from each other, because that's just kind of the way that they write potential big couples, you know, as like they're ride or die for each other. But yeah, Spencer, Trina, and Curtis then track down the nanny and Ace and take the baby away from the nanny. Curtis tells him to get to the plane while he gathers up the rest of the gang and tells Trina to call Jordan to let her know what's happening. When she does, Jordan and Robert let her know about the airstrike that the WSB is going to do against the island. And you know, Trina's like, please warn them and try to get their attention. And she says that she'll do her best, but that they need to get to the plane now. Now, as for Laura and Drew, they got spotted in the lab by Victor and his crew, and Victor told them of his plans about the pathogen. Laura figured the pathogen might be useless after 40 years, to which Victor responded by turning on the monitor that showed Valentine in the isolation room while he's suffering from that pathogen. Laura had, at one point, when the guards were kind of attacking Drew, used that as a distraction to grab the ground. You know, of course, Victor knew that this pathogen was useless, and and that smashing it would do nothing, essentially. But I have to give I have to give Laura credit because that was badass. She was willing to like sacrifice herself and all those people in there, Victor and the whole lot, to save the rest of the world and her family. So props to Laura. It didn't lead to anything, obviously, but gotta give her credit. But yeah, as they're talking, Anna shows up, guns ablazing, and she and Drew fought the guards hard. So hard that one of the set pieces, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when I think Drew pushed one of the guards up against a wall, the wall like came undone. Because these sets are kind of cheap, right? They do what they can, but I noticed it. But Anna was kicking ass. Like, for a girl with a bullet hole in her stomach or wherever he shot her, like, that girl kicked ass. Victor actually shot Laura, who also took her shot like a champ. Laura tells Anna about Valentine and where he is, while Curtis and Laura happen upon a computer that was making sounds that reminded her of the computer that controlled the weather machine in the 80s. And by the way, I skipped a line there, but Curtis actually goes to check in on Laura because Curtis saved Anna from a guard shooting her. Laura was just like, oh, it's just a graze, and just like brushed it off. That's why Laura's badass. Okay, let me read what you guys are saying. Alright. You would think Curtis was a Navy SEAL. I loved how Anna came in to save Drew. Yep. Spencer, on the other hand, was a big disappointment. He got beat up by everyone. But he redeemed himself in the end, I think. But one sec. Oh, Spencer and Trina were passing Ace back and forth like a hot potato. Yeah, it seemed like it. No! You can't go. No, take him. So good. After I heard the island was going to blow up, I would have got on that plane. Same, I think, honestly. DG said it was a good scene. Spencer would have been alone on the island. I would have remembered all the problems he gave me. Fair. The Greenland set looked cheap. So cheap. Honestly, I liked the outdoor set of the Greenland. Like, I liked the outside one. It's, in my opinion, one of the better outdoor sets that they've had lately. So, props to them. But the lab itself was a mess. Oh, Brooklyn, you noticed the wall too? Drew is useless. Goodbye, Laura. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Goodbye, Laura, and then shot her. Holly, though. Yeah, we need to talk about Holly. We definitely need to talk about Holly. I think that's kind of next to my... Well, actually, let's talk about what Laura and Curtis were doing, and then we'll get into the Holly stuff, because I'm so excited for this. Basically, like I said, Laura thinks that this computer resembles the one that controlled the weather machine in the 80s. She then soon realizes that there must be a second weather machine out there, and she notices the carbonic snow is once again aimed at Port Charles. The only way to stop it is by putting the chemical equation of the carbonic snow into the machine, which Laura can still remember from 40 years ago, thankfully. And we got a nifty flashback of Robert warning Laura that having that knowledge racking around her brain could get her killed. But instead, in the end, here in 40 years later, it helped them stop, or helped them save the entire world from getting frozen again. I was looking for the frozen chamber. That would have been funny. But that was basically essentially the only arc for the weather machine in this entire storyline. I swear, sometimes I think that the writers are watching some of our live streams because we've discussed surely the weather machine is going to factor in the storyline somewhere, and I think we all thought that it really wasn't going to. And then I feel like they just threw this in there to be like, let's involve it a little bit. And they even had Jordan, Portia, and Elizabeth witness that it was snowing. And they were so fascinated by it. I'm sitting here as hot as May has been this year in Edmonton so far where I live, it is completely normal to have an entire blizzard at the beginning of May. So, like, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. If I seen snow, I'm not going to think, like, this is really strange. Like, I'd be like, oh, just another day in May. It has started to snow in Port Charles, and I heard from a writer in an interview that they were going to revisit it. Well, it started to snow, but Laura stopped the weather machine, so it's probably not snowing anymore. I don't think. If they continue it, I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think that they're going to continue that aspect of the story. Because they're all kind of maneuvering themselves off of the island now. Yeah, you think it was a slight rewrite? Oh, you didn't really watch Friday. Oh, man. Friday was a good one, Kaiwan. You really should watch it. We know GH loves sci-fi. I gotta rewatch the original Ice Princess storyline, because I don't really remember Laura studying the chemicals for carbonic snow. Like, from what I remember from the story, like, I think Robert was the first one into the bunker on Ice Princess Island because of Tiffany. And then I think Laura and Luke got captured at the same time and then brought out for dinner. I don't remember, like, where Laura would have had a second to find this sheet of paper about carbonic snow. But again, maybe some of y'all would remember. Do you guys remember that? If you guys have been watching since the 80s, like, do you remember Laura finding the chemical whatever? At least Laura knew something. Yeah, thank goodness, right? Oh, you don't think that she stopped it, DG? I hope, like, part of me hopes that she didn't, but I don't have hope of them continuing the story with the weather machine, mostly because it's like, it would have flew back in the 80s a little bit, but now, I don't know. I think people would roll their eyes at it a bit more. It's a nice throwback for sure, but, like, the weather machine story is ridiculous. I like that Curtis thought that it was an urban myth, that the weather machine was an urban myth. But I feel like, going back on articles, like, that shit would have been written in the newspaper. I don't think that they covered it up, because, they made a big deal about Luke and Laura saving the world, and that's when they got married, and, DG, you said it was written on a piece of paper. She tore it up but memorized it before she went to sleep. So that actually did happen then? Like, I know that she said that. I just don't remember that part of the story in the original. The formula was hidden on the base of the Ice Princess statue. Oh. Okay, I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to binge watch the Ice Princess storyline, you guys. Laura was on the Cassadine Island for 3 years. Was that the same island as the Ice Princess Island, though, or was it a different one? I think she was just on Cassadine Island, which is in Greece, I believe. Whereas the Ice Princess Island was in Venezuela. In the 80s, a lot of people complained about it, and the story ended up in a paperback book of the worst story on TV. Really? Because, like, when I did watch it, I really enjoyed it. Like, I know... But I think I heard, was there not a writer's strike at the time? And that the writers that came in were, like, super sci-fi fans or something? Because that I believe, because, like, that was the most sci-fi GH got at that point. Yeah, it was in the episode. The Freezing of the World angle was written by Scab writers. Yeah, see? I'm glad I knew that. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a writer's strike, and that's why the Ice Princess storyline happened in the first place. There's also a writer's strike. Yeah, we talked about the writer's strike earlier this week. GH only has 5 weeks of stories in advance. Well, that's 5 weeks of... I don't know if it's 5 weeks of stories in advance. I think that's shooting time. I feel like they would have wrote scripts longer than that. You know what I mean? Am I worried about the writer's strike? Honestly, Jacarius, no, not really. I mean, like, somewhat. I guess I am a little bit because it's the 60th anniversary year. There's a lot to be expected of them. But I find that they plan out storylines for at least a year, and then it's just about writing point A to point B to get to each sort of, targeted plan. 5 weeks of episodes in the can. But yeah, I watched during the last writer's strike, and I think that the scab writers that they hired in 2008 did fine. I actually enjoyed the writing more during the writer's strike in 2008 than I did Guza's actual stories. So yeah, 5 weeks of shooting and acting ahead. You need to write further than that because the actors got to memorize the lines and stuff. Like, I think the breakdown stories are probably written a bit ahead of the scripts for each episode. Yeah, like, I think that they plot out certain things at least a year in advance, and it's just about writing the scripts to get there, and I'm sure that they're at least a few months ahead in terms of that. Wrong timing for the writer's strike. Yeah, it's bad timing for GH, especially on the 60th year, but they survived multiple writer's strikes. And, if anything, I think that the writer's strike made Luke and Laura even more popular because people, popular enough that right after that they got married and 30 million viewers watched that. You know what I mean? As long as Pushing Daisies doesn't happen? What do you mean? GH needs a new writing team anyway. Scabs can't do any worse than them. I don't think that they've been doing a terrible, terrible job this year. But they're definitely riding the heels of the 60th anniversary and the nostalgic factor to pull fans in a little bit. And they're using they are utilizing all of the vets right now in the story. And you know damn well that as soon as the 60th anniversary is over, half of them are going to be backburned again. But anyway, alright. My only concern with the scab writers on GH, Frank will still be at the helm, so I won't get too excited. Yeah, but you know what? Jill was still at the helm during the writer's strike in 2008, and the writing was so much better, so much more balanced. I was genuinely shocked that they gave Monica an actual storyline, and that they put her as, like, front burner for, like, Sam's Hit and Run. They focused on the hospital. There was a lot of good stuff about it. Like always, these writers do good with crisis episodes, like Charles Pratt, but suck at long-term story. Let's just have crisis after crisis. Like GH used to do that. We'd get a crisis in February, a crisis in May, and a crisis in November, and all they had to do was like bide their time until they got to them, just a little bit. So fluff in the middle, but every 3 months. Oh man. Yeah, I miss the crisis era where there was crisis after crisis. They should tell storylines like that. It keeps people glued to their seats, y'all. Hell breaking loose constantly. That's a fun thing to watch. You're fine with the crisis? Yeah, me too. Okay, now let's talk about, because I'm super stoked for this. And yeah, I miss sweeps too, Angel. Let's talk about Holly and where she is in all this. So, she ran into Victor outside with Obrecht after he escaped the bunker with her and had one hell of a standoff. She announced to him that not only did she rescue Ethan, but that it was she who turned him into a limp dick man incapable of creating an heir. No more heirs for Uncle Victor. He can't even try. Like, I freaking loved it. Emma Samms is amazing, you guys. I freaking love her. Like, she was so good in that confrontation. She's like a little bit like intimidating at first too. Emma Samms has done a bang up job. Absolutely. Like, she's a trooper for like, this is a pretty like action-packed storyline for her to be a part of considering her condition in real life. But like, she's killing it, you guys. I'm thoroughly enjoying her again in this storyline. I was a bit worried because like I felt that they did such a great job in like her return at the end of last year. So I was worried about her coming back. And I think even Emma was worried about coming back because even she felt that, it ended so good for her. And I feel like in a lot of ways they redeemed the character from like her past storylines. And she said so herself that Emma, that she's felt that Holly has been written out of character pretty consistently through all the 2000s onward. So, and that this was the closest to Holly she's, this is as bang on as original Holly that she felt. So the fact that Emma is saying that about Holly means that the writers are really doing the character justice this time. And I agree. I agree with Emma. I've really enjoyed Holly this time around, more so than all of her other past returns in the last, 23 years. DG child, those Goose and Pratt years, especially post-Brenda return, were awful. Goose and Pratt together were a disaster. Oh, man. All right. So, yeah. So she basically... Anyway, Holly basically mocks Victor. And he was like, you bitch. And like tried to take a shot at her. And then Drew jumped in and, knocked him out. And in doing so, he accidentally knocks Obrecht out too. And they were so scared and distracted for Obrecht that they didn't even notice when Victor came to and ran off. Yeah, you guys are talking about all the writers over the years. They all had their moments, honestly, but yeah, some were better than others, for sure. But yeah, so Spencer and Trina actually watched Victor stumble off when they were making their way to the plane, and Spencer insisted that he had to go after Victor and tells Trina to take Ace and keep going and he'll meet her there. She runs into Laura and Curtis and lets them know that she got in touch with Jordan, who told them about the airstrike, and earlier Curtis and Laura had gotten a hold of Jordan to let them know that Victor was no longer on the island, which gives enough incentive for Robert and the gang back in Port Charles to tell the agent to call his boss and call off the airstrike to the island and aim it at Victor, who was on the Haunted Star with the pathogen. The downside to that is, as you guys could have guessed, Spencer went on board to the Haunted Star to stop Victor from taking the pathogen. And they have a standoff where Spencer manages to knock Victor out, but then we hear the rockets, and boom, the Haunted Star gets blown to smithereens. Do you guys think Spencer will survive? I do, because they're not killing off Spencer 100% for sure. And I think that they gave enough time between Spencer hearing the rockets and then cutting to Laura and Trina and Curtis talking about Spencer being on that boat. Like, there was a good 10 seconds. That's enough time for him to run the hell out of there and take a dive into the water. Yeah, I think that both Victor and Spencer will survive somehow. Or at least Spencer will. I feel like like I said, I think he probably jumped into the water. I swear to God, if they give Spencer amnesia, I will have a mental breakdown. I will. Body found in the water. I don't think that Spencer's gonna die. Hopefully Spencer got off before the boom. I think that he did. There was enough time in there for him to jump. Phelps was the one that made Sonny into the show's main character. Notice how much of the show was centered around him. Yeah, it's true. All right. But yeah, that was one hell of a cliffhanger, you guys. And one hell of a week in Port Charles. Exciting stuff. I am personally not ready for this storyline to be over, and it seems like we're almost there. Surely, we're only at the first week of May sweeps, right? So, surely they don't think that the Willow beating cancer will be enough to keep us sustained. Which reminds me, because I forgot to bring this up. Drew actually reached out to Carly, and Carly went to Michael and Willow's room to put him on speaker. And, you know, he's like, I'm all right. And then Obrecht was like, and I'm okay too. I thought it was a cute moment. Willow was obviously very relieved. And, you know, all they got to do is get back to Port Charles. Unfortunately, Carly kind of left out that the SEC was after Drew. So, there's that. I'm sure that Drew will get arrested the second he comes back to Port Charles. It makes no sense for Spencer to die now. Yeah, man. Sabrina fans will come in the droves and like be angry about it. But I don't think anyone out there believes that Spencer is dead. Actually, that's not true. My mom thinks Spencer is dead. I'm like, no. He's not gonna die. Maybe this show would be foolish to let him go, because that man is freaking talented. That guy can act circles around most of the cast. Like, they found a gem with this guy, Nicholas Chavez. TG said, I'm just crossing my fingers hoping that Tracy will prove Luke is alive. I won't hold my breath for Tony Geary to do a cameo appearance. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone really believed that Luke truly was killed. But I don't see Tony coming back, so it's crazy. Maybe Victor is dead for now. He's probably dead for now. It'd be funny. It would be hilarious if NAC announces on Monday that he's leaving because he has a primetime show or something. That's the thing. That's what I'm scared of. Like, he is that talented that he probably could. You know? He could easily go into primetime. Do I think the show is going to do something to push him to not date Trina? I mean, it would be like another thing to put a wrench in them, but I think Sabrina fans would reel, honestly. And like that's why I brought up like the possibility of him having amnesia, because then what if like Amnesiac Spencer likes Amnesiac Esme, and then Esme gets her memories back and just uses that to make Trina mad as revenge. Like, oh man, that would suck so bad. Isaiah, you said one thing that I wish the show would do is pay more attention to the aftermath of deaths. Since Frank came in, it's like they just happen and the show quickly moves past it. It's true. Like, when Nell died, like, they said that someone confirmed the body, but it was like no one that actually knew her that confirmed the body. Like, it's like they can't think of a viable way to, like, just, I don't know, keep people guessing whether or not they're alive or not. Because, like, even with Morgan, like, there's, like, people they left enough open that he could come back alive one day. But it's been so long now, right? I don't like open-ended death. I would rather see the character dead and just let it be there so that it's not ridiculous. Like, some of these characters have 9 lives, you guys. The Cassadines certainly do. This is what, the 3rd time Nicholas has died in the last like 10 years? And they still made sure that we knew that he was alive. I thought Chase confirmed Nell's body. No, he said someone else confirmed it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I swear, like, it was some random person that confirmed it and not Chase. I think Chase is the one that brought up that someone confirmed it. Good night, Sandy. Yeah, the stream is pretty much over. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tonight was a lot of fun. Sorry for being so flustered in the beginning. You know, like I said, I had a bit of a crazy start to the night with the award ceremony and winning an actual award. Insane. But yeah, stay tuned. We're going to live stream this Wednesday. It's going to be lots of fun. He specifically said himself, Chase specifically said that he checked out the body. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think Chloe Lanier wants to return, though. She's doing her thing. She's doing her thing. But yeah, we will live stream this Wednesday. Check in about how we feel about sort of what I'm assuming is going to be the aftermath of this big story. Maybe if I can find Tracy and Lord Ashton's wedding night, we can watch that as well. I hope I can find it. If I do, we'll for sure watch it. Otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday regardless. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys this Wednesday. Mwah!